Great awakenings. Thank you for sending the hearts. We're going to start here in just a minute. Great awakenings. Is York. This is a presentation of Cosmic Adorations from Asmataji Temple in honor of Sirius Rising. Today is the 7th day of the Natarian observance of the Kemetic New Year, which is 38,790, which officially begins tomorrow. For 7 days, we had a live stream for each one of the Netter. Netteru. According to the calendar put out by Temple of Amun, starting on the 13th, we have a different netter each day until we get to the 19th, which is today, when we honor Sirius Rising, Sopdu. And then on the 20th is the beginning of the Kemetic New Year. And each day, Sirius is seen visible rising over a different location until sometime in September, when it's visible everywhere. So right now Sirius is rising with the sun. It's called the heliacal rising of Sirius, and it kind of looks like a DNA strand. When you look at the Dogon chart, the Dogon is a tribe in Mali that has records of Sirius rising for thousands of years before the French, quote-unquote, found this tribe in the 1920s. A French explorer found the tribe in the 1920s. In fact, the t-shirt I have on today, YouTube, you can see it, is from the Dogon artwork of Sirius, Sirius A and B, Potolo and Sigitolo. And I think in my Digitari, I get all the names mixed up. So starting today or the 23rd, you can see it rising over a different location. Every constellation, Great Awakenings, goes below the horizon for like 2 months or 3 months. I think maybe it's 55 days. I'm not really sure exactly. And so when the Sirius, which is in the constellation the Great Dog, when it goes down, then it's kind of, you look up into the sky and you don't see it, and it's just kind of sad. You're looking for it. And then around this time, it's in Chicago and Texas, it's around August, middle of August. I don't live near the horizon, so I don't see it when it's first visible. But I usually see it around mid-August. It just depends on your location. But that's, in other times, in other places, that's a huge Jubilee festival. And according to the Sirius calendar of Mali, which is published by the Earth Center, we're in the month of Ibsensi, and the Kemetic calendar has 10-day strengths. I don't say weeks, I say strengths. And according to this calendar, they observe Sirius, they observe the Netters being born in September, and Sept is another name for Sirius. And here they only observe 5 of the Netters. They don't, in the Natarian system we observe Ra and Sirius. So this presentation is in honor of Sirius Rising. I only have a few songs for Sirius. And so we'll begin. Hope that answers your question, East York. Great Awakenings. Thanks for tuning in, and for those of you on TikTok, for tapping the screen. That lets people know, or lets the algorithm know, that something is going on here in the temple space. And for those of you watching the replay, welcome. And you can, like and share and comments and all that stuff. So we're going to start with the candle. Uh-oh. Where's my incense? Start with the lighting of the candle. Here signifies the Aku, the divine light within, that is to be awakened. And then the incense, which represents the fragrance of the personality, which exudes with the divine odor, rises up, attracts, and communes with the divine. And we pour water silently and continuously from one container to the next, symbolizing the one-pointed flow of the mind towards the divine. I'm right-handed. I'm going to go this way. Alright, food offering. Have a nectarine. And then, of course, the artwork for today is this illustration of Sirius, the helical rising of Sirius, Sapju, Emaya, Potolo, Sigitolo, Digitaria, Sothis, Sabju, Subdet, and the dog star. Right. Comments there. Pin your goal. Okay, I don't know what that means. Oh, I don't think I want to pin the goal. Okay. Alright, we'll do it for the sending the love and the hearts. Alright, we'll go ahead and begin with the opening prayers. Welcome to those of you on YouTube. I see you're there. If you could just let me know how the audio is. It sounds alright on my end. I know there's a hissing sound. But if you could let me know to make sure that it doesn't sound like a robot. Sometimes it sounds like a robot on YouTube, and we still don't know why. So we're going to start with the prayer for Anpu. Anpu is represents the great dog constellation, and is known as the cosmic force of discernment. And the chant describes some of his qualities. But it is, in this system, it is represented by the great dog, and then Sirius is the eye of the dog. And like I was saying earlier, in the Lakota tradition, Sirius, Gemini, and Orion, and some other constellations or stars make up what is called the sacred hoop. And right now, the sun and Mercury and the moon may have already moved on, but they were all inside of the sacred hoop with Sirius rising yesterday. And Sirius is known as the scorching star, and it's illumination, and lots of things come to light. Alright, so we're going to start with the opening prayer for Anpu, which you can find a little bit in the devotional handbook of Chateau Netter, and also it has been released on your favorite music platform with the Blue Lotus Speaks Volume 1 collection. Oh, Anpu, opener of the ways. Oh, Anpu, opener of the ways. Remove obstacles to my success in my spiritual practice. Oh, Anpu, opener of the ways. Oh, Anpu, opener of the ways. Lead souls through the narrow pathways to know the difference between real and unreal. Oh, Anpu, opener of the ways. Oh, Anpu, opener of the ways. Measures between heaven and hell. Day is black as night, golden as the day. Deeply watchful by night is by day. Oh, Anpu, opener of the ways. Oh, Anpu, opener of the ways. May Anpu make my thighs firm, so that I may stand upon them. Oh, Anpu, opener of the ways. Oh, Anpu, opener of the ways. I wash myself in the waters where Anpu washed himself, where he was the officer of embalmer and bandager. lips of Anpu. My lips are the 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 lips of Anpu. Do a hatap. Next, we're going to have the offering of the four great truths of Shatau Neter. And I'm going to read the translation first, and then next, after the offering, I'll read the commentary. Number 1, the Neter, the Supreme Being, is one and alone and is never manifesting everywhere and in all things in the form of gods and goddesses. Number 2, lack of righteousness brings fetters to the personality, and these fetters lead to ignorance of the divine. Number 3, devotion to the divine leads to freedom from the fetters of Set. Number 4, the practice of the Shetty discipline leads to knowing oneself as the divine. This is called being true of speech. Say come in. Say what you say, not fool inside you said. Shady rekabe makeru. Monitoru, who never shed it, beteru. On the odds we sell, you said, say come in. Say what you say, not fool inside you said. Shady rekabe makeru. Monitoru, who never shed it, beteru. On the odds we sell, you said, say come in. Say what you say, not fool inside you said. Adishedi bekabe makeru. Monitoru, who never shed it, beteru. On the odds we sell, you said, say come in. Say what you say, not fool inside you said. Adishedi bekabe makeru. Do a hatep. And now for the commentary by Dr. Ashby. And these are pinhole glasses. They're not sunglasses. The holes in them force your eyes to focus instead of magnifying what you are looking at. Number 1, Nebuchadnezzar means all-encompassing divinity, the all-inclusive, all-embracing spirit which pervades all, and who is the ultimate essence of all. This first truth unifies all the expressions of Kemetan religion. Number 2, when a human being acts in ways that contradict the natural order of nature, negative qualities of the mind will develop within that person's personality. These are the afflictions of Set. Set is the Neteru of egoism and selfishness. The afflictions of Set include anger, hatred, greed, lust, jealousy, envy, gluttony, dishonesty, hypocrisy, etc. So to be free from the fetters of Set, one must be free from the afflictions of Set. Number 3, to be liberated, nafu, freedom to breathe from the afflictions of Set, one must be devoted to the divine. Being devoted to the divine means living by Ma'at. Ma'at is a way of life that is purifying to the heart and beneficial for society as it promotes virtue and order. Living by Ma'at means practicing Shetty, the spiritual practices and disciplines. Uwashu means devotion, and the classic pose of adoring the divine is called Dua, standing or sitting with upraised hands facing outwards towards the image of the divinity. Number 4, doing Shetty means to study profoundly, to penetrate the mysteries, Shataut, and discover the nature of the divine. There have been several practices designed by the sages of ancient Kemet to facilitate the process of self-knowledge. These are the religious or spiritual Shataut traditions and the Sima, Smai, Taoist yogic disciplines related to them that augment the spiritual practices. All the traditions relate the teachings of the sages by means of myths related to particular gods or goddesses. It is understood that all of these Netaru are related, like brothers and sisters, having all emanated from the same source, the same supremely divine parent, who is neither male nor female, but encompasses the totality of the two, Hetep. A few extra comments. For number 2 about Set, we had the special presentation a few days ago on, on day number 4. Here. The 16th presentation on Set, and then also the Cosmic Adorations Divine Holy Day. We had some more information on Set. So you'll find all these replays on YouTube or Instagram to Chia Amet. And then number 4, usually when you hear the word religion or religious, the 3 major world religions come to mind. However, in this practice, religious means, the word religion translates to be to repeat, to repeat. So that this practice is something you repeat every day or several times a day, and then chanting, repeating. So it doesn't necessarily mean like religion, like most people think of when they hear that word. And those are my comments for now. Right? Next we're going to have the 3rd chant that is offered before studying or reading from the Purdim Haru. And we just heard a little bit about Nebuchadnezzar in the last chant or translation. This is Om Nebuchadnezzar, capital Asar Om. And the inspiration came from the yoga posture system from this tradition, Taf Netaru Sima Paut, the movement of the gods and goddesses. So it's more than just yoga postures, it's the reflections and intentions that go along with each posture. This whole system represents the forces of nature that Nebuchadnezzar manifested and was able to create the creation that we're experiencing, which some say is a simulation. It's a projection that we're in. And so we are instructed to learn how to use the cosmic forces the way Kepra did to create. So it's more than just worshiping or honoring. It's about becoming and then learning how to manifest. And of course, one of the most important tools for manifesting is the mind and then the mouth. In fact, our consciousness is represented by the symbol of the mouth. And like in the previous chant, the fetters of Set are symbolized by bandages covering the mouth. And so these practices are supposed to rip the bandage away from your mouth. And then also in the first chant, it says, my lips are the lips of Anpu. That's referring to manifesting using our mouth, our speaking, and then also our mind. So Om Nebuchadnezzar, capital sorrow. 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 never just kept a sorrow. Oh, never just kept a sorrow. Oh, never just kept a sorrow. Never just kept a sorrow. Oh, never just kept a sorrow. Oh, never just kept a sorrow. Oh, never just kept a sorrow. Do a tap. Oh, thank you for the roses from Trent. Trent J sent roses. So much appreciated. I can almost smell them from here. And welcome to Moonchild 80 for tuning in. Thank you very much. Alright, so this next tune is not for Sirius, but it is Sirius. I haven't played it in a while. But I'm feeling the Nebuger vibe, so I'm just going to keep it going. I forgot to mention that I started talking about the yoga posture system. I forgot to finish the thought about where the inspiration for the song came from the Tefnetru Sima Pout posture system from this tradition, and also the Akusaneb movement reflective meditation that I will start sharing soon. On the very last posture, the mummy pose, one of the phrases from the reflection is that Nebuger came forth as I manifest the creation of Nebuger, so do I manifest my creation, my enlightened lifestyle as a divine soul Asar. So that's for in the Kepura pose, not Asar, Kepura pose. And so Nebuger first came forth as Kepura, the creator of all the cosmic forces, the gods and goddesses. And then Nebuger came forth as a human, representing Asar, the universal soul. So this chant comes from the teachings of Aset, who is connected to Sirius. So in an indirect way, it is Sirius. And the first line is what's going on, and I interpret it to mean no matter what's going on. And then the second line is remain in the stillness. No matter what's going on, remain in the stillness. Ma'apu'u an nemu nemu. And then the second verse is, when you know Nebuger, you know everything. Mapu nemu nemu. Mapu nemu nemu. When you know Nebuger, stillness. No matter what's going on, remain in the stillness. No matter what's going on, remain in the stillness. When you know never journey, you know everything. 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 You know everything. You know everything. That's it. Right, so Sirius is probably my favorite star. I would say it's my guiding star. And I first became aware of Sirius back in 1988, right before my first Saturn return. I guess it was during my first Saturn return. And this is my second Saturn return we're in right now. And it's really difficult. I'm getting through it. My first Saturn return was scary. I ended up in the emergency room. So that hasn't happened yet. It's not going to happen this year. Excuse me. It's not going to happen. My lips are the lips of Anpu. And it was from the book Sirius Mystery. Someone lent me their book, and then I bought one. And I guess I became obsessed with Sirius because before I became a mom and a wife, I was on the road to becoming an astronaut. And I couldn't believe that I was in graduate school working to get a PhD in galactic astronomy, and I had never heard of Sirius. I was furious when I found out that they weren't no one had talked about Sirius. And so Sirius is like, it's a star in the sky in the Great Dog constellation. And according to the Dogon, it's how everything in creation began. In the Kemetic tradition, Khepera created everything. And in the Dogon tradition, everything came out of this star. So, and then in the Mayan tradition, they say when the stars, the 3 stars that make up Orion, were put into the back of the turtle, then creation began to move. So, I'm not really sure how all these myths connect, but that's one of the things that I really want to find out is how do these myths connect? Because I know there's a connection. And then talking about this calendar, I've been reading the introduction on the front about humanity's original calendar was recovered by Neb Naba Lamusa Morodinibig. This calendar is based on the heliacal rising of the Sirius star. It has been 422 years since the last great heliacal rising. This year of 365 days is the second quarter of the Renpet, the real year, 1,461 days, as shown in the chart below. And what this doesn't specify, and it didn't really click until I was rehearsing the song that's coming up next, that the real year, 1,461 days, is a Sirius year, and that's when the sun goes around the star. What is it? 1,461 times in one Sirius year. So I don't really know. They don't tell you how many Ren Pet years, though, this calendar represents. That's the part I don't know yet. Let's see if it says it here. Understanding the calendar, Kemetic holy days. I haven't started following the holy days yet. I'm just getting familiar with the divine holy days and the ancestral holy days. Okay, here we go. Let's take some time to read this. The Kemetic year, number of years since the last great heliacal rising of the star Sirius. This great cycle is divided into 1,460 smaller seasonal cycles. Our ancestors were well aware of the fact that after 4 seasonal years of 365 days, Sirius rises on the 2nd day of the year. After 8 years, on the 3rd day of the year. After 12 years, on the 4th day, and so on. I'm going to read that again, because I've never seen this section. This great cycle is divided into 1,460 smaller seasonal cycles. Our ancestors were well aware of the fact that after 4 seasonal years of 365 days, Sirius rises on the 2nd day of the year. After 8 years, on the 3rd day of the year, and after 12 years, on the 4th day, and so on. The intervals are compensated by adding 1 day to every 4 years of 365 days. So the seasonal year is made of 12 months of 30 days, plus a 13th month of 5 days. Oh, here we go, which becomes 6 days every 4 years. Well, I never knew that. And this system will be self-repetitive after a new heliacal rising. After 1,460 seasonal years, an additional year is added for astronomic observations. It absorbs all surpluses. During this period, all necessary adjustments will be made to find the exact moment for a new start. A new first of Tahuti of each year, 1, will thus start independently of an astronomically perfect moment. Well, that explains why in our calendar we have the Western calendar, there's a leap year every 4th year. This one changes. After 4 years, it rises on the 2nd day of the year. After 8 years, on the 3rd day of the year. After 12 years, on the 4th day. Intervals are compensated for by adding 1 day to every 4 years of 365 days. So the seasonal year is made of 12 months of 30 days, plus a 13th month of 5 days, which becomes 6 days every 4 years. I've been saving these calendars, and I have never noticed that the Tahuti year, the first day of Tahuti, changes. Oh, I'm just going to take a moment. There's so much changing right now. I know in some traditions they say we shouldn't even keep track of time and space. But I don't know how to do that because we're still living in time and space. I will say that I feel a lot better following the 10-day than keeping up with the 7-day. And I don't really know why, but I definitely feel better. Okay, so now we're going to have the song that was released last year at this time on the album Pauti Natudu. That's based on notes from the Goddess book by Dr. Wanda Ashby, and then also some information from just information on Sirius from different sources, but most of it is from Dr. Ashby's book. Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, Subtube, subtechnic. Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, subtube, subtechnic. Rising star of comedic New Year culminates at the Western New Year. Rising star of comedic New Year culminates at the Western New Year. Subdue is our brightest star. She's our closest star. So this subdual Sirius, the scorching star. She's seen from all over the earth. She is a dwarf star. She is the dog star. She's a binary star. Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, subdue band, subdead hast, subdue band, subdead hast. Begins a new year. So the spirit is one serious year. Healing rising with our sun begins a new year. So the spirit is one serious year. Our sun travels 1,461 times around this star in one Sirius year. The Dogon peoples of Mali and Africa use Shabtu as a time reckoner. The Dogon say that the Neter came to the earth from Shabtu. Rising, Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening. Subdead, make a celestial trinity. This is a different kind of cosmology. Subdue band, subdead. Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening, Sirius rising, Sirius awakening. Do a subdue, do a subdet, a tap. So the Sirius, as we mentioned, is in the constellation of the Great Dog, and it kind of makes it makes a sacred hoop with Orion, symbolizing a star, and Gemini, which symbolizes Jehuti. In the Mayan tradition, Jehuti, or Gemini, is called the basketball court. Another interesting fact about Jehuti, okay, let me step back a little bit. This practice, this temple, embraces the connection between the cultures here on Ta-Meri and Kemet, and that the Olmec Mayan traditions of Central America and what's called Turtle Island here in North America. The place called Teotihuacan, according to the research of Horace Butler from the book When Rocks Cry Out, is a place of Jehuti, because it's Tehuti. Jehuti is also referred to as Tehuti. So Teotihuacan is the place of Jehuti. And I believe it's the basketball court. I think the basketball court is at Palenque, in Palenque, at the Jaguar Temple. So anyway, there's a connection between what is called the sacred hoop in the Lakota tradition. So this is cosmic adoration. So we're talking about the cosmic forces of nature and the constellations and the planets that are associated with the Neteru. So at this time of the year, Sirius is rising. It's becoming visible. It will become visible again in a few days, starting over in Kemet and also over the pyramids in Maya in Olmec country. And at this time of year, it's rising with Sirius. And we just had the moon, the new moon. We're still in the sidereal constellation of Gemini. We don't move into Cancer for a few more days. And a few days ago, Mercury, representing Jehuti, was also rising in Gemini. So we have one more song for Sirius. This one also has the vibrations of Aset, because Sirius represents Aset. And this song is available on the Blue Lotus Speaks Volume 1, the first Kemetic Devotion album released by Milky Way Records and Productions. Up until then, it was all reggae and world music. And then I had to take some time to connect with the Kemetic wisdom, because I was researching the connection between Kemet and Turtle Island and realized I didn't know much about Kemet. So I took time. And now it's all supposed to be coming together. Let's see, well, there's some terms I didn't translate. Yeah, so heliacal rising is when the sun and Sirius rise together during the dog days. It's called the dog days because Sirius is the dog star. It's also called the dog days because Sirius and the sun are rising together. So it says it's supposed to be really hot. I think this year it was really hot in July, because we're also told that Nibiru is crossing into our solar system. It crosses every 3,600 years. So I believe that Sirius, the sun, and Nibiru were really close. And of course here Nibiru is Neb-Heru, Lord of Heru. And Heru is the son of Aset. So, and heliacal rising, it's different names for Sirius. Were mentioned in the chant. Sirius is the Greek term. Sopdu and Sopdet are the Kemetic terms for Sirius A and Sirius B. The whole system is called Imaya in the Dogon tradition, but then we have Sirius A and Sirius B, Potolo, Sigitolo. Digitalia is another name for Sirius. And what other terms do we have? Oh, Sopdu, Uban. Uban is rising. And then Sopdet Nihast is enlightenment or consciousness. So when Sirius is rising and culminating, when we gaze upon her, we get some sort of message. We get communication. That's why she's called the guiding star. And because she comes so close to the earth, because she's the closest star, it's like scorching, burning at this time of year. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a aset mutarikat. Do a aset mutarikat. Do a aset mutarikat. Do a aset mutarikat. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a aset mutarikat. Do a aset mutarikat. Do a aset mutarikat. Do a aset mutarikat. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a subdue Benifer. Do a aset mutarikat. Do a aset mutarikat. Do a aset mutarikat. Do a aset mutarikat. Burn good. 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 Dua Sirius, good rising. Dua Aset, divine mother of wisdom, love and light. Hatep. Alright, well, this concludes our musical offerings and wisdom offerings for the Unitarian observance of the Kemetic New Year 37,790 according to the Unitarian calendar of Shatau Netter, just published by Temple of Amun. You can get this at templeofamun.com. We had 7 days of presentations featuring Ra on the 13th, Ra Asar on the 14th, Heru on the 15th, Set on the 16th, Aset on the 17th, and Nebuhet on the 18th. And today we have Sirius rising. Tomorrow is the official Kemetic New Year, 38,790. Dua for tuning in. Please, Yadanika. Greetings, Yadanika. Day Niha. Sorry, I had to put on my glasses. Day Niha. I will try one of those group chats after this sometime today or tomorrow. Great Awakenings, Aku Essence. Thank you for tuning in. And so we're following the Kemetic sidereal calendar, which is year 422, the second quarter of this Rinpat, and the next Divine Holy Day presentation is, let's see, today is the 19th, will be on July 26th, which I believe is on the Mayan calendar, the day out of time. I had forgotten about that. The Mayan calendar, it has their 5-day day out of time that aligns with Sirius. So that might be my first Olmec Cosmic Adorations presentation. I'm going to write this down. When I write things down, it helps them. Sorry, looking at my shirt. Speaking of my shirt, this is a shirt this is artwork I did back in 19... How old is this shirt? I don't even know. It's amazing that these paints have lasted this long. Because I was making these and selling them at festivals back in the day. And I have 2 left. Both of them are for Sirius. I'm going to have the other one on tomorrow. This one at the back. No. Yeah. So, yes. So, the Mayan calendar. Days out of time. Yes, that's coming up. July 26th, I believe it is. All right. Yeah. And then also today was special because it's the first day that I had the wherewithal to read the description of the calendar year. Because I have not started honoring the Kemetic holy days on this calendar. I've only keeping up with the birth of the 5 gods, the holy ancestral holy days, and the divine holy days. And they have them listed here. This is the first year I followed this calendar so completely, closely. So maybe that will start this year. I don't know. Here. I'm going to read it again if you don't mind. For those of you just tuning in. This is the reading of the Understanding the Calendar. Yeah, here we go. The Kemetic year, number of years since the last great heliacal rising of the Sirius star. This great cycle is divided into 1,460 seasonal cycles. And according to what I read there, this year is based on how many times the sun has gone around Sirius. How many times it's done this heliacal rising. Our ancestors were well aware of the fact that after 4 seasonal years of 365 days, Sirius rises on the 2nd day of the year, after 8 years on the 3rd day of the year, and after 12 years on the 4th day, and so on. The intervals are compensated for by adding 1 day to every 4 years of 365 days. So this is where the whole leap year time reckoning comes into play, because to the Dogon, the Sirius is the time reckoner, so that must be how they use it. And that's probably where the Western system of every 4 years comes from, but they don't really have an explanation for how they choose the 4 years. They just add one. And I know that one of the reasons I stopped following the Olmec count is because they didn't have, it was Europeans keeping up with the calendar, and they didn't have a valid explanation either. And I know there's some people that say, why does this matter? I don't know why this matters to me so much. Sirius, here we go. Sirius rises on the 2nd day of the year, after 8 years on the 3rd day of the year, and after 12 years on the 4th day, and so on. The intervals are compensated for by adding 1 day to every 4 years of 365 days. So the seasonal year is made of 12 months of 3 days plus a 13th month of 5 days, which becomes 6 days every 4 years, and this system will be self-repetitive after a new heliacal rising. After 1,460 seasonal years, an additional year is added for astronomical observances. It absorbs all surpluses. During this period, all necessary adjustments will be made to find the exact moment for a new start. A new 1st of Tehuti year 1 will thus start independently of an astronomically perfect moment. An astronomically perfect moment. Okay, so the last one. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is get my other calendars and see when is the first New Year's Day on the this calendar, because I thought it was the same every year. I thought that the New Year always began on September 11th. But I have noticed that sometimes the Newt is 6 days and not 5. See, in most indigenous calendars, there's 12 months and then a 13th month of only 5 to 7 days. So we have this system, or it's 5 or 6 days, and then the 13-month sidereal solar calendar that Horoscopes follows. It has 12 months. Uja Ahmed Abidos. 12 months plus the 13th month is 7 days long. That's the constellation of Scorpio, which is between Sagittarius and Ophiuchus, the 13th constellation. Then we have, and see, the Vedic calendar is 12 months. They don't count Ophiuchus, and they don't count Scorpio being 7 days. So I don't follow that one, even though it follows the stars. See, the sidereal calendar follows the stars, and the zodiac astrology system of the West says it follows the sun, but it doesn't refer to when the sun is in each zodiac. They just divided the orbit of the sun into 12 equal sections and named each section after a constellation. So it's not accurate. It's man-made. It's like polyester versus organic linen or organic mud cloth. They're just, it's not natural. It's plastic, I guess. It's practical. I mean, it's useful, but it's not real, and it's destructive. And then the Mayan calendar, which isn't a calendar, it's a count. It's the Olmec calendar, because they discovered the calendar when they discovered the Olmec heads. It existed before the Maya. The Olmec calendar is actually a count. The Europeans that turned it into the dream spell forced it to be solar and lunar, but it's just a galactic count. And it also has 12 months with the days out of time, which start around now, July 26th, and it aligns with Sirius. And so I see now that even this calendar, and I think that's what I'm going to do, it needs to be readjusted to be 10 strengths, and then add the Natarian holy days as the 13th month. And then I'm going to see how that corresponds to the Olmec Mayan days out of time. So that is what I'm going to work on, because I've stopped using the 7-day cycles, and also I stopped following these holy days because it was just too many. I was trying to follow the calendar, and it was just too much. I was, I wanted to make these offerings from Asmadaji Temple. Plus, every Egyptian temple has different holy days. And so you can't unite, because everyone says that their calendar is the calendar. And so I decided to follow this one because it's Sirius. And then I already have the solar sidereal. Oh, it's coming to me now. And then the Olmec Maya is galactic. And that is what I am really about. So, sorry, it's all coming to me now. It's not going to, change my situation, but this is my life's work. That's what I came here to figure out. So, let me just write that down, and then we'll close out. Oh, where's my pen? Yeah, I love doing these sessions because it helps me feel good again. Oh, gosh, I don't know where my pen is. I'll remember it, because it's just obvious. I was in grad school to be a galactic astronomer, and then I ended that and went back to grad school to be a galactic cultural astronomer, focused on the Maya and the Quechua in Peru, and then that didn't I didn't want to be in an institution, basically. I mean, if I had wanted to be in institutions, where would I be now? And then I took time to study Sirius, and then I took time to study Kemet, and now it's time to bring forth the culture of Tameri and Amarika, basically, which is galactic, Sirius, and solar. So the next solar presentation, which is Good Rising TV, I do not have the date for that yet. I have not finished those calculations. The next Cosmic Adorations for the Sacred Hoop is August 11th. The moon will be in the Sacred Hoop again. It won't be the new moon or the full moon. It'll just be the moon in the Sacred Hoop. And the next Imhotep transit is July 28th. That'll be an open discussion panel where people can come on and disagree with me and argue. I have to figure out the next transit for the sun. I believe it's when the sun moves into sidereal Cancer, which is in a few days. And then here's the diagram. That was an epiphany for one day. Trying to simplify things. So here we are in the center, the Earth and the solar system. So we're following Good Rising TV, which is, I must be sounding like a robot because people are not staying on the YouTube. We have the Good Rising TV celebrations where we honor every time the sun moves into a different sidereal constellation. And then we also have the Spiral Dance Medicine Wheel for the 4 seasons and the mid-seasons, the spring, summer, fall, winter, mid-spring, mid-summer, mid-fall, mid-winter, eclipses, and retrogrades. And then we have the Sacred Hoop. We have Cosmic Adorations for the Sacred Hoop when we have activity within the constellation of Gemini, or the Sacred Hoop of Gemini, Sirius, and Orion, which we talked about earlier, the basketball court in the Mayan tradition, the Great Turtle with those 3 stars on its back, when creation began, Sirius, the Dogon says the creation began when the star Sirius spewed forth everything, and it's in the form of a spiral. And we talked about Jehuti giving Nut the extra days so she could give birth to Asar, Set, Hadu, Set, and Nebuchadnezzar. So we have Cosmic Adorations for that. And then when we have activity in... Oh, and then when you're looking towards the Sacred Hoop, you're looking out away from the Milky Way, out towards the arm, the spiral arm. And when you're looking towards Imhotep, or Ophiuchus, which is located between Sagittarius and Scorpio, you're looking towards the center of the Milky Way. Looking straight in towards the center, which they say is a black hole. I don't know. And that's when we have on Imhotep transit wellness conversations. And that could range the gamut of herbs or healing. It can be political, financial, anything dealing with our well-being we talk about. Okay, so thank you very much for tuning in to this presentation from Asmataji Temple. If you're just tuning in, this was the Cosmic Adorations offering for the Natirian observance of the Kemetic New Year, 38,790, and also the heliacal rising of Sirius, when the sun and Sirius rise together. In the next few days, right before sunrise, like during the blue hour, you'll be able to see Sirius rising right before before the sun, and then each day she'll rise earlier and earlier, and you'll be able to see her better, because she's so bright you can still see her when the sun is beginning to rise. But it starts over in Africa and I guess close to the equator. I've been told it starts over in Kemet and over the pyramids and Maya first, and then it can be visible in different locations. Usually in Chicago and Texas, I could see it in the middle of August. When I lived in a valley in California, I didn't really see it till September. And so we just learned that the Sirius New Year begins in September, according to their calculations. So I'm going to study more. I had never, all the years I've been buying those calendars, I've never seen that section. I guess because I wasn't really trying to follow it the way I am right now. So that's all I have to say about Sirius. Oh, and again, this beautiful t-shirt was painted 20 years ago. 25 years ago. I don't want to think about it. And it's amazing how vibrant the colors are. I just put in the washer and dryer. In a way, is that a good thing? Because it's all polyester, and this paint is going to last forever. It'll outlive the shirt. So the replays, for those of you just tuning in, you'll be able to find them on YouTube and Instagram. And I will try to post some clips on TikTok. Thank you for those of you joining in to watch the replay. I appreciate your support. And if you want more information on Osmology Temple, Divine Light Healing and Sweet Sounds, you go to lightbeamwellness.com/osmology-temple. And for the Cosmic Adoration series, sometimes I have created pages to contain all the information that I just learned while studying that Neteru. And you'll find those at tachia.com. If you're looking for the Cosmic Chimes Enchanting presentations, you'll find those at lightbeamwellness.com. And as far as the Sirius information that I have posted, I have lots of information on Sirius at both tachia.com and lightbeamwellness.com. And Dua, happy Sirius rising and happy Kemetic New Year. May this New Year celebration bring you positive change, healing, growth, freedom, courage, change. I'm standing in my truth. My knees are shaking. I'm shaking. It feels nervousness, but it's excitement. And I have some huge obstacles to get over and big decisions to make to conquer and face all my fears. That's why I'm here making these offerings, because it helps. A tap. Do a tap. Thank you so much. Do a tap.